Hello and welcome to the Franchise Hockey Manager Stream. My name is Adam. I'm the community manager of Franchise Hockey. With me, as always, and digitally pictured on your screen somewhat, is FHM producer Jeff. Say hi, Jeff.
Hey, everybody.
And we are back with Rewriting History, the Montreal Canadiens 1911 season, defending the Cup? I think that's what you'd call it. I mean, despite the fact you let our best player leave our
Yeah,
team.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, the good news is we we were the NHA champions last year. There's no playoffs, so we didn't actually have to win anything that way, but we did finish. Let me get to the 10-11 history screen here and standings. Oops, that's the current standings.
Which doesn't tell us much because the season hasn't started yet.
Yeah, so I click on the right thing. And there we go. That's how we finished 10-6, just barely squeaked in. Somehow won the league championship with a -6 goal differential. But whatever works, we got it. We're the champions. League change in the offseason, Renfrew, the last of the northern teams, and last of sort of the little small town teams in the original NHA, has gone out of business. Their players have scattered all around the place. And that's the last O'Brien family owned team in the league, who are one of the sort of key founders of the NHA, who had the original plan was they were going to go with 4 teams, and they owned 3 of them. They eventually added a couple when the Eastern Canada League folded, and Montreal and the Montreal Shamrocks and Ottawa came over. But so we are down to 4 teams now. And ironically enough, just as the O'Brien family is ceasing to be the active owners in the league, they give the league its first championship trophy, which is the O'Brien Trophy. So unfortunately, there's not really a great picture of it online. There's this black and white one is the best I can do. The bowl is the base is silver. I think there's some the panels on the front are brass maybe, and the bowl is silver and made from the actual silver that was mined out of the family mines up in places like Haileybury and Cobalt, and where the locations of the original teams. This is still the trophy still exists. It's in the Hall of Fame in Toronto. It's if you're ever there, go into the vault section. Don't miss that part. That's probably the most interesting part of that whole room, because it's got all the old original trophies along with the original Stanley Cup. And this was sort of. Go ahead.
I said, no, I said, which is the bank vault in the whole building.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, like the literal old Bank of Montreal vault. And it was the NHA championship trophy from this season on until the end of the league. Then the NHL sort of inherited it and used it for various things. It was given to the playoff champion for a while, I think up until they stopped competing with the Western leagues, BCHA, WCHL, etc., and they needed a separate trophy since they weren't automatically the Stanley Cup champions. They needed a separate trophy for the NHL playoff champions, so they gave this to them for quite a while. Then after that, it was used for, I think it was one of the division championships, and when they went back to one division, it was awarded to the runner-up in the playoffs, which nobody wants to be. So you can imagine how enthusiastic teams were about getting this trophy. And this lasted until 1950, I think, before it finally got retired. But like I said, it's now in the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. It's a fairly nice-looking trophy. It's a big thing too. I think it might be the biggest one in that section of the hall. So that is the O'Brien Trophy. The other new thing that happens this season, the big innovation, is although we've had numbers in the game since the beginning, because there's no real way the game can work without them. But this is the first year they're actually wearing numbers on the uniforms. They put an armband on the on top of the uniform with a number on it. So that's I think the first time in organized hockey anybody does that. It's a little unclear whose idea it was, but that starts this year. And as far as we go, as Adam said, I did something stupid in the off season. I didn't renew my player contracts in time, so we're going to take care of that in a minute this year, just so I don't forget again. and which normally wouldn't be a problem because there's no real free agency in this era. I own the player rights even after the NHA rights even after the players' contracts expire, and I figured okay, I can just sign them. But I forgot there's a new league this year. Out west, the Patrick family has put together the Pacific Coast Hockey Association, which is only 3 teams. They're all Patrick run, despite having I think New West has had ostensibly separate management, but really that's it. They're run by it's owned by the Patrick family, uh, and I think if I remember right, New Westminster wasn't even playing in New West this year. They were still playing. They were playing out of the same arena as Vancouver was. So they've got a couple of buildings, brand new buildings, uh, built specifically for this league, and 3 teams. And you can see what's happened. They've started. The teams haven't quite filled up their rosters yet. I think they start a little later than us. But what they've done is pretty much what happened historically: is grabbing players from the expired Renfrew team and then various other NHL or guys who weren't signed, who hadn't been signed to NHA teams rather. So Cyclone
Right.
Taylor was the big signing historically, and here he is too. Only he's gone to New West instead of Vancouver. What were you going to say?
Is that, or players who forget to get signed by their teams?
Yeah, and getting to that, here we go. Georges Vezin's contract expired. I figured, oh, fine, no problem. I can get him signed. I make him a contract offer and then get the news a couple of days later. Oh, no, he's signed with Vancouver. And it's a 2-year deal, so I'm probably not going to. There's no real way for me to get him out of there until then because I can't sign him because, I get this error message when I try to offer him a contract. We're honoring the NHA contracts or the PCHA contracts, which
Yeah.
wasn't really the case the first year until there was sort of a rating war going back and forth, stealing players who were may or may not have been under contract until they finally settled it between themselves and set out a few ground rules and started respecting each other's contracts. And you can see there the Vancouver has a bunch of ex-Renfrew guys in addition to the 2 from Montreal. The same thing also happened. Not as big a deal, but Jack McDonald, I think it was our second or third line left wing last year, also wound up going out there for the same way Vezina did. And Alphonse Jeté, one of our spare defensemen, did too. Although I'm not even sure I was planning on re-signing him. Not a big deal. But yeah, so they've got the Renfrew guys, a couple of 3 of ours, and they'll probably pick up a few more players as the season begins. What we've got, what I originally did was sign one of the former Renfrew goalie, but that wasn't going to be that good. And I just noticed as I was running this around to the start of the preseason that Ottawa had a spare goalie. They were trying to shop Percy Lesueur, who had been sort of the goalie at the tail end of those great Ottawa Silver 7 teams in the first decade of the 20th century. And he's sort of wearing down now. You can see this is his real record here. He's got a little bit left in him. Excuse me. But you can see he's starting to fade out a little bit. And what's happened with Ottawa is that they picked up Hugh Lehman from the Cobalt team that expired last season, or started last season. And he was sort of their backup last year, and he's ready to take over the first string job now. So what I did was trade George Broughton, the backup we signed off of Renfrew's roster, and Eugene Payan, who did he play for? Yeah, he played a little bit for us. Oh no, not last season, 2 seasons ago. He's only 22 and he's got 2.5-star potential, so he may wind up playing for them yet. And I also threw in a 2nd-round pick and got Barney Holden, who's the throw-in defenseman, who's played for the Shamrocks 2 years ago in Ottawa last year, and Lesueur, which is the main thing. I've got a passable goalie now instead of having to take the guy
Scary
who was
situation.
the backup for the dead team from 2 years ago. And Lesueur sort
Yeah.
of
Before
yeah, go ahead. He's from Quebec City, so he
I
sort
was,
of fits our house rule of only signing Quebec players or at least French Canadian players.
I was just going to suggest that perhaps you might want to sign some players right now before the season starts, so we don't forget later.
That's what I'm going to do. And let's just get the key guys. Sprague Cleghorn, our young defensive prospect, who's going to be with us hopefully quite a while, as long as I can keep under contract. New Zealand, absolutely want to re-sign him. That's going to be expensive. 3,300 is the high end for our salary, I think. Yeah, it is, but going to have to do it. Joe Malone, who we drafted, I think, the beginning of last year. Yeah. Say there's a draft in this game. There wasn't one in real life, but I left it in this one rather than using the regular player assignment thing, just because it's a little more fun to do for a stream. And we got him with the third overall pick. We finished a little farther down last year. Our draft this season wasn't anywhere near as good. Billy Bell, who had actually fallen through the draft one year and didn't get drafted, was sort of a leftover. We got him with the fourth overall pick. Ed Gorman, I don't think I even bothered. May not have even signed him. And George O'Grady. So not really anything significant in the draft this year. Even with only 4 teams in the league drafting. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's okay. I'll do these handful right now
Now, just
and
as
see what I
Jeff
get back.
is
Yeah,
doing that, I'm just going to mention because we have quite a few people watching us on Steam.
yeah,
FHM 10 is on sale right now for 33% off as part of this winter sale, which means you can get it for, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong here, I believe it's just over $26 American.
yeah. 26 and change.
And we are currently playing in the National Hockey Association, which is new in FHM 10, which is the league before the NHL,
Yep.
as we've started. And this is our third stream exploring the Montreal Canadiens history as we began from the very beginning.
Yeah,
Uh,
1909, and we lose our first exhibition game to Ottawa there. And let's see, we got I think pretty much everybody signed there. And the second game, going to throw the backup Gru in against. I don't want to burn Lasser out early in the season with the back-to-back game, and we get crushed by the Wanderers. So not a promising start to the exhibition season. And a couple of players going to get waived, don't really care. And can we at least get a win against Quebec here? Yeah, we can. 6-4 win. Peter gets 3 points against. That's a fairly deep Quebec team. I mean, all of the teams in the league at this point, we're down to 4 teams. So I think pretty much everybody here. Wanderers they started out strong and declined a little bit as they wound up doing in real life. But there's still a few Hall of Famers there. The 19-year-old Punch Broadbent, he'd go on to be in the Hall of Fame. And Tommy Smith, who's trying to trade him already at 25. That's a little surprising. Harry Highland. Good players. Ottawa has some really great depth. One of the problems with trading for their backup goalie is we improved their forward depth a little bit, or at least prospect depth. And so the rich are getting a little bit richer there. Great forward setup, good defenseman. You can see in this, the Patricks had actually left for the West Coast at this point and would be on their new teams, but I haven't got it feels a little cheap to sort of force that to happen in the game, like automatically transfer them to the PCHA. Well, maybe we should do that. Something that I got to think about, since they were the founders of the league. And Quebec, who came back into the league last year, not quite as good, and they're going to have good goaltending eventually because they've got Clint Benedict in goal, but he's still 19 years old at this point, future Hall of Famer, but not that good right now. So season preview says, okay, our 2 guys are going to be our 2 out of the 3 contenders. The scoring leader, but we're not getting mentioned as the championship contender. That's not good. Oh, and Lasser is actually mentioned as one of the better goalies in the league, so maybe we won't be too far off in the goaltending this year. And we got a couple of injuries, but it's to both of our spare defensemen, so it doesn't matter. Oops, and I got to send somebody down here. Or I just got to dump O'Grady on the injured list for a couple of weeks. And you can see this is how late these seasons start. It's technically just before the beginning of the year, so it is the 11-12 season, not just the 19-12 season, although we don't get a game until the new year. And so we get the end of year player poll. Lalonde is the best skater, Petra is the fastest, and our Jack Laviolette is the most underrated.
Kind of what you expect.
Yeah, and Bernie Morris is a free agent. That's a little surprising. That's a pretty good player. I'm going to try and grab him. Oh no, I can't. He's from. He forgot about our house rule.
I was going to say.
Yeah, Quebec only. Yep, he's from Manitoba, so. Best guy we got here is Everest PA, who I think we had the rights, we may still have the rights to, but not available. Riley Hearn, who was a pretty good goalie back in the day, but he's 33 now, which is ancient by the standards of this era. So we could have grabbed him if we had really needed another goalie, but don't need to now. And we get our final training camp report. Not a ton of big improvements. I set the training, by the way, in the off screen when I was advancing this around to the preseason. So training and lines and everything and tactics have already been set up. Going with the lines, it's pretty much loaded the first line up. I got to change the the first line a little higher, I think, because that's where most of our scoring talent is. And should be okay. Monthly budget, doing pretty good financially, so I can. I'm going to leave the scouting sport where it is, because you don't really need to do that much scouting in historical, just because A, I already know the players, and B, there's just not that many of them. Crank happiness all the way up, and I think we're doing fine in attendance, so I won't worry too much about game promotions. No tournaments to assign scouts to, so we get our home opener against Montreal. The other Montreal team, the Wanderers. Oh no, that's in Montreal. I think we're both playing in the same arena at this point, but it's technically an away game for us. And we lose 8-6. And apparently a bit of fighting at the start of the game. So did we get outshot there? Okay, yeah, they outshot us 43-34, so not necessarily a goaltending problem. Oh God, look at the period, look at the scoring line, the periods.
Impressive.
Ever seen that? We were up 4-0 going into the third and gave up 8 goals in the third period.
Yeah, well, that's
And Grew wound up having to close the game because Lesueur fell apart.
Yeah, that is literally a barn burner.
8 third period goals. Good God.
It says, happy holidays. Not looking good for the Wings tonight. I know the Leafs lost, so we can all celebrate that. What's Detroit doing? Looking. Oh, down 6-3.
Okay, so trying to bounce back against Quebec here. I'm going to try and speed this along, so we're getting a little behind schedule here. And we get a 6-4 win against Quebec. Got another think about it. Have to re-sign a couple more guys. Laviolette, the captain. I'll just do another group of 4. Poulin. And if you haven't seen it for game work, what I'm doing here is looking for the 1-year deals that don't have the asterisk. Beside them, the asterisk means that he's already signed an extension, and I don't have to worry about him. And I'm just giving them whatever they ask for, because we're pretty fine on money right now. So back against the Wanderers. And we come out with a 7-6 win this time. So we seem to be pretty evenly matched with them at the moment. And Joe Malone is starting to take off, you can see. hat trick and assist. And we somehow managed not to completely cave in the third period, still let in 3 goals. And O'Grady is healthy now. I'm going to send him directly to our farm team, and you can see, yes, Adam, I finally installed your logo pack. So we have the Montreal Garnets logo. Is that an authentic Montreal Garnets logo?
I don't think it is because I don't think I could find it, but I could be wrong.
But yeah, we've got, I think some of these are a little iffy,
No.
hard to find.
Oh, the Montreal Shane Jack one. Yeah.
And yeah, that is a shamrock there to start to see against the green background. Probably need to, yeah, we should do something about those. Maybe outline them in white or something. Okay, so we've got all those guys signed and rolling right along here. First game of the year against Ottawa. And Lasseur gets to play his old team. And loses 8-6. Another 8-6 loss. But at least he spread the goals out this time. Oh, they outshot us 50-30. So I think our depth is starting to catch up with us a little bit, or lack of depth rather, compared to the other teams. The D really isn't as good. I don't really. He's going to swap Bertrand out, but he's clearly better than Vezina. That's actually Georges Vezina's brother, Pierre, there, who had a short NHA career. He's lasted a little longer with us. Swap Leduc for Seguin and just maybe leave it at that for now. Other contracts. Actually, I need to sign both of those guys.
Question from our OOTP chat says, hello, bought FHM 10, but I have no idea where to start. From Dynamic MLB 42.
Well, lots of places to start. Depends really on what you're interested in. If you're interested in the modern NHL, obviously you can start with the standard game or one of the lower level leagues and work your way up. If you've got a particularly historic year you like, probably better to start with one of those rather than a custom game, because you're not really, you may not know how to set up everything yet, but you can see how everything works in one of the regular games and then switch over to a custom league if that's more your thing. And 4-2 win over Ottawa there. That's good news. And wow, Barney Holden, the throw-in defenseman we got from Ottawa, has a hat trick against him and gets the first star. So, okay, you can have your contract renewal then, Barney.
Yeah, Dynamic MLB, I'll just say, if you, depending on how familiar you are with hockey or even FHM, start in the NHL. If you're looking for like a quick way to go, I would suggest historical. If you have a particular year set you like, that's always a good spot because it'll sim fairly fast. And if it's around players, whether that's 80s, 90s, 60s, or even the 2000s, never a bad thing. Don't be afraid to let your assistant do some things. When Jeff gets through this, he can show you really quickly where you can set to have your assistant do some stuff for you.
Yeah, that's right here under manager options. You've got the whole list of things you can switch on, or you can just hit the all human or all assistant button to let them take over everything. But you can pick over individual areas for the assistant to look after if you want to sort of ease yourself into it and only look after, say, the game lineups and transactions. You can have it do things like manage your staff contracts, or hire new staff, then manage the contract renewals for existing ones, and do things like your drafting, your scouting, your player training, and so on. Okay, and so we're doing pretty well here. We are the defending champions, but even with losing a goalie, we're kind of evening up. 3-3 tie, no overtime. Wait, was there overtime this year? I can't remember if that was in yet. And we're coming up on the trading deadline. And Joe Malone leading the league in scoring. Where is Lalonde? That's a little odd. He's only got 9 points in 7 games. He's easily our best
Only
player.
ni-
Well,
only 9 points.
I mean, for the
He's
guy
only
who's
getting over a point per game.
this is
I,
arguably
I,
the best player in hockey right now, even if he does have a bit of an attitude problem. And in fact, I think I said last time, but I'm still surprised that no harmony issues, no conflicts with Lalonde. He was kind of notoriously difficult to get along with. He wound up, I think, I can't remember if he was jailed or just fined for beating up a goal judge a couple of seasons previously in real life, not the game. So that gives you an idea of what a fun guy
do you
he
think we can?
was.
Do you think we can add that?
Attacking off ice officials?
Well, I mean, we can do. We have Millbury attacking fans in the '70s, so we can probably add that too, right?
And actually, I saw that once. Who was it? I can't remember which player was it. Somebody on Kamloops went after the went after the timekeeper in Kelowna one night in a junior game. Let's see.
I don't know.
Okay, Gru is just out day to day. I don't want to put on the injured list just in case I need him, so I'm going to temporarily send Leduc down for 1 game just to get us under the roster limit because I want to put La Rochelle in as the backup. I should probably have a. So it didn't ask me for a number for La Rochelle. There we go. Now it does. No, you cannot have number 1. You're just up to back up for 1 game. And of course, there weren't really backups in this era, but the way the game works, we have to have one right now, and we come out with a 6-3 win despite the injuries. But we lose Barney Holden, who just signed a new contract, and we're starting to get injuries piling up here. I'm going to have to put Vezina in.
Vesna.
The other Vezina, Vezina's brother.
Ah, yes, right.
Speaking of whom, though, how's he doing out there? Okay, so we got 2 good teams in Victoria, basically. New West and Vancouver, the 2 teams on the mainland, are 4-1. The Vancouver Island team hasn't won a team game yet. And Vezina is 4.28 goals against average, which is quite respectable by the standards of the time. He's got no D at all in front of him. Basically, a bunch of cast-offs, half-star guys. New Westminster's put Cyclone Taylor back on the point, so they've got a decent group of defensemen. What's wrong with Victoria? They don't look that bad. There's some named players in there. Mummery was a decent player. McNeil, they're a little young. That's part of it. Bert Lindsay, Ted Lindsay's grandfather, I believe. But yeah, they got some young players. Don't see why they're doing that badly. Oops, not the NHA, not the NHL. Back to ours. And no, I don't want to delay the treatment for Holden. And DJ Petra has a pretty good point streak going. Looks like it's going back to last season, 22 games now. Payet is now the second best free agent available, and we got Louis Berlin-Kidd, another guy who we could sign, and was a decent player historically. But he's only 1 star now, so I don't really have a spot for him. And Descaries and Gru are still day to day, so I don't think I can change anything there. I'm going a little faster through this than I normally would, just to 5-1 loss to Montreal, because we've got 100-odd Canadian seasons to get through. Trying to get a little ahead of ourselves here. Another decent development report. The only guys going downhill are guys we don't really care about that much. And Joe Malone is the player of the month, and it's trading deadline. Let's. Anybody interesting on the trading block? Few guys, but nobody I think we can. Wait, is Jack Marks from Quebec? Brantford, Ontario. Nope.
That's almost Quebec.
It's like a Toronto suburb, but hey, not really. Well, not really a suburb, but pretty close. So I'm going to let trading deadline go by. We will go with what we've got. And Descartes and Grew are apparently close to coming back, not quite. Game against Ottawa, and I think if we can win this, we should be in pretty good shape. And we come out of it with a 3-2 win. So settling down goal, I think, a little bit now. And our backup gets hurt somehow. Sore elbow. But the good news is our regular backup, Grew, is back, and Rochelle can go heal his injury down on the farm team. I think the Montreal Garnets were in the Montreal Manufacturers League, I think it was called. It was an industrial league. Sounds like a beer league, but it was actually a pretty good competitive league at this point. And Bell goes back out and Descartes goes in. And does that look right? Yeah. And should call up an extra defenseman from the lower level. I'm going to leave O'Grady down there and call up Jeff Malone, who is not Joe Malone's brother. But he can be our spare defenseman now. At least until Barney Holden gets back. Now, what do we got here? Oh, just number assignment. And no, you're not getting number 4. And we got Ottawa again. Not a lot of variety to the schedule when you've only got 3 other teams in the league. But just imagine being on the West Coast when there's only 2 other teams. And 8-5 loss to Ottawa. What was that?
I said you're playing them or playing them at home.
Pretty much. Okay, Joe Malone fully converted over to left wing now, so he may be even a little more effective than he has been. And we've got Quebec, and starting my starter in all the games this year, like was done historically. There's no reason not to. The goalie fatigue recovery is set to run a lot higher during the season than it is in later eras. So your starting goalie should pretty much always be ready to go in this area. And we blow out Quebec 8-3. Peter with 3 points, along with a couple of goals. Looking good. How many more games we got left? We got 6 games left. 18-game season. And we are up by 1 point over the Wanderers. But we got Quebec again, so hopefully another easy win. Hey, 8-4 loss. That's not great.
Oh yeah, that's not an easy win.
This is, not a very good team we're against. We were with them in the first period, up 4-3 after that, and then they got 5 goals the rest of the game. We did nothing. Looks like the Wanderers lost as well, at least, so they were still even. Now we are back in Ottawa. See if Lasseur can do it again against his old team. And no, 8-6 loss. So that's probably scrambled. Oh boy, that's not good. Joe Malone is hurt. How bad is it? Just sore foot day to day. Okay, not the end of the world. And we've got a couple other guys hurting here. Bernier lost a tooth. Poulin has a sore thumb, but nothing too bad. And Holden is ready to come back. So he can go into the active roster. Malone goes back down to the farm team. Let him recover his fitness before I put him in. And I'm going to have to swap Joe Malone for Billy Bell, our first draft pick. in this game. And what I'll just do here is switch that on the, when you switch something in the pre-game lineup, it's just for that one game, that isn't permanent. So it's nice. It's a nice way to handle if you've got injuries and guys on lines they shouldn't really be on. But we get crushed by Montreal, the Wanderers, 8-2. So we are suddenly struggling. We're back at 500. We got 3 games left, and we're 3 points. We've gone from first down to third. So we really need a win here. We really need Joe Malone to get back. Vezina can go out for Holden. Anything else I can do? Not offhand. I'll try bumping everybody up again instead of just swapping them directly. And okay, there we go. We got. Oh yeah, they do have overtime. Just it's possible for it to run out and the game to end in a tie. But we get a 4-3 win in overtime over Ottawa, which gets us back within 1 point of first place, but it's going to be a tight race for the top. Although, fortunately, we've got Quebec next. So that means the Senators and Wanderers are playing each other, presumably. Wait, didn't look. Okay, yeah, Malone is healthy enough to play. Although Poulain's managed to get himself hurt now. Swap him down the line on the regular line. And that's good. 6-2 win over Quebec. Big line chips in with the first 2 stars. Wanderers had Ernie Russell, who's one of their better players, suspended for a game. That's a bad time for that to happen. Nobody really interesting on the from the free agent report. So last game of the season, it's going to be against the Wanderers. The problem is Ottawa is playing Quebec, and Quebec is the worst team in the league. So this is kind of out of our hands. If Ottawa wins this, there's nothing we can do to get back in first place and win the league championship. Development report. Yeah, that's not good. De La Sueur is headed downhill. Laviolette does. So yeah, he's 32. That's not that surprising, I guess. We're starting to get a little bit old.
Well, when you're restricted to just Montreal or guys from Quebec, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, we're going to have to decide at some point when we're going to get away from that. I'll have to take a look at how the historical rosters did and see when they really started doing that. Just to keep things fair. Okay, Poulain is healthy again at least. Malone is almost back to 100%. Okay, we can't lose this game. We have to win this to have any chance at all winning the championship. And we lose in 5 in overtime, 6-5 to the Wanderers. And we get no overtime point for losing that. So that is it for us this season. I think that allows them to... Yep, Montreal, the Wanderers slipped by, but it looks like... what is the deciding factor here? It's not goal differential. Let's see who that gives it to. Looks like it's going to be Ottawa. I'm not sure what it's using to determine that. And award nominations. Well, you get the award ceremony. Didn't even get a nominee for best goalie. We got nothing here. Oh no, there we go. We got I missed the MVP nominees, and New Zealand, despite the slow start, wound up being the MVP. And nobody else gets anything for us this year. Wow, that should have been. I'm surprised Lalonde got that. It should have been Petra. Petra ran away with the team lead in scoring. We'll see that was actually Highland was better than him. So, a bit of a surprise there. And what what happened out west. They're not quite done. Just going to continue the game a little bit farther so they can finish their season. We're not really going to be doing anything the rest of this year. Development report. I can cut back on the happiness and the game operations stuff. Just because we're not playing games anymore. And it looks like the PCHA has done 16 games, and you got another tie for first place. It looks like New West has won there. And Harvey Richardson, one of the guys who wound up leaving the NHA when Renfrew folded. In fact, he's gone through two teams that way. He was originally on the Montreal Shamrocks. They went out of business. Went to Renfrew. They went out of business. And now he's gone to New West, who is, well, at least in business for a little while, although they're not that long for the world. So he's not having great luck with his choice of teams here. Don't have to worry about the postseason injuries.
Smelly Wrestling Geek in the chat says, any idea when the next update is planned?
Probably looking at early February. Depends on what we want to get done, and they're going to be trying to get a little more content into this one. I particularly want to do some more stuff with the promotion relegation at Custom. That's one of the things I'm going to be talking to the guys about in the next couple of days, and then we'll see what else we can fit in. We've got a whole list of stuff that we'd like to do.
We do have a hot fix coming at some point, though, do we not?
Yeah, probably going to do something. We got a little bit of an issue with the way we handle the Mac builds. That's probably not going to get cleared up until early next week. So we'll probably have a hot fix somewhere in that first week of the new year, just to clear up a couple of minor issues with the last update. Nothing really game breaking in it, but it's a couple of things we'd like to fix before we take a month or 6 weeks off before the next one.
That sounds like you're doing nothing for 6 weeks, Jeff, when you say it like that.
Well, take a month off between putting out new updates. Trust me, I'm doing plenty. Yeah.
Just doing nothing. It just, we'll come back in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, that maybe we could probably say that in a different way so it sounds a little bit better.
Okay, anybody else I need to get under contract? I could just look at the upcoming free agent screen. Oh, George Carey, pretty good prospect. Don't want to let him go, because the Western League will grab him pretty quickly. Same with Edmond Bouchard. Haven't really used him, but he's kind of versatile. And probably going to go with a different backup. Oh, so the backup does not want to sign with us. He may be headed out west. And Grew, the other guy, I'm going to have to sign a free agent goalie, I think, in the offseason.
Or draft one.
That would also be a possibility, because we are going to get the draft done before we go tonight, I think.
Well, we're in June already, so I would imagine. All we can say is you didn't manage to repeat as champions.
Got my contract extended. Yeah, a lot of guys getting hurt in the offseason. I'm not going to worry about it. Our season score is only 21. That's kind of sad. I keep improving my coaching ratings. Try to get the players to develop a little faster. And you see that one blows right through the June 30th, July 1st changeover there. Barely a delay. And yeah, they didn't really have TV in 1912. But it's a little hard to... I should probably see if I can get that. Well, it's called TV agreements, broadcast rights. Yeah, I got to think about that. Owner confidence update. Yeah, was disappointed last year. But the fans are happy with us. Are they? Job security.
I think instead of TV rights, we can just
Yeah,
change it to
92.
movie rights. Not movie rights, but newsreel rights. Because
Is
they
there
would have
such a
had,
thing?
yeah, yeah,
I mean, there's such a thing as newsreels, but not.
yeah. No,
Movie.
they've recovered some footage from old games.
Okay. Oh, back checking the news. What's the other thing? Oh yeah, the other new thing. For some reason, they decided to allow two Toronto teams into the league. So we will see what they can do. They're starting out with absolutely no players, so they're going to be terrible for the first couple of years. They're going to have to be grabbing probably guys who come out of free agents, come out of the Western League as free agents, or out of the free. No, there's actually I put a few players into the free agent pool here, so there are some guys for them to sign. They are going to be pretty bad, so I think this is going to be a relatively easy season for us. Set the annual budget. Owner took a bunch of money out of us, but that's fine. All the way up on player development and marketing spending in the middle. And coming up on the draft, I didn't check the draft yet. Not sure what kind of players we got. Remember, I traded that second rounder away as part of the Lesueur trade to Ottawa, so we've only got the first round pick. Draft is just 2 rounds long. Okay, so Jack Adams, better remembered as the longtime general manager of the Red Wings. Corb Denneny, Cy Denneny's younger brother. Al Skinner, another pretty good player. Mickey McKay, who was very good, I think, from her. Right, he was with Victoria of the PCHA for quite a while. Bert Corbeau. Okay, we should get at least one decent player out of this.
Okay, Jeff, just
Yeah.
was quickly Googling it here and getting a YouTube video. Somebody has footage from going all the way back to 1925 from newsreels of hockey.
Yeah.
And then they also have a clip from that Thomas Edison did in 1898.
Oh, okay.
So
Of
I don't think
hockey.
it's, yeah, of hockey's some like minor game, but I'm thinking at that point it's very possible that there is some recording that's possibly been lost to time.
Probably, but I'm not sure anybody was playing for exclusive rights at that point. But let's see how the draft goes. Jack Adams, the first, going to the Toronto Tecumsehs. The first New Toronto team, the other New Toronto team, I think, will be, the Blue Shirts are going second. And go for Mickey McKay.
And Jeff, some hockey history just happened tonight, which is December 27th,
What was that?
2023.
What happened?
Chris Letang picks up 6 assists, becoming the first defenseman ever to have 5 points in one period in a 7-0 win over the Islanders.
Oh, wow.
He plays for Pittsburgh Penguins.
I guess Letang has a little bit left in him. And the other big news today, Nikolai Habibulin, Jet legend, coming out of retirement to sign in the KHL.
The Boulin Wall.
Yep. And it's our pick now, and Bert Corbeau, who is not from Quebec, but I think he's French enough for us to sign. Because I don't see a lot of other options here. Unless Corden, is he? No, he's from Cornwall, which is almost in Quebec, but not quite. But I'm going to go with Corbeau. It's a French name, close enough.
Yeah, I think mostly they're between him and Kovalchuk. All the old Russians are just coming back out of retirement, apparently.
Fetisov will be next, I'm sure.
He came back a couple of years ago at 51.
Okay, and that is the remainder of the draft. A couple of decent players still out there. Have we got a... Oh, right, we've still got a third and fourth round. Forgot about that. Okay, are you from Quebec? No, if you're from Winnipeg. I should be able to tell by just seeing the abbreviation for the league that they're in. Oh, the goalie, you're right. Sami Hébert, he's French. We need a backup goalie. We're taking him. And looks like the best French guy available is Rochon. And that is the draft. Well, let's get those guys signed. Actually, we're 20 out of 25 contracts. Remember, it's a fairly short contract limit in this era. So we will get Corbeau under contract, number 1 pick. Hébert, we also need the backup. There we go. Now it's loading. It wouldn't let me submit the offer there for some reason. That was odd. And we haven't got Tetreault signed. I think he was a draft pick a couple of years ago. But he's fairly flexible, so we'll bring him in. And, oh no, that's not our Corbeau. That's Montreal's Corbeau. There's 2 of them. Okay, number assignment for the new guys. Hébert signed. No, the other guys haven't signed yet.
Soon enough. And was there anybody else interesting on free agency?
Probably not. I think the Toronto teams are going to grab those guys relatively quickly. Let's get number assignments here.
Did the West Coast league expand this year?
I don't think they did yet. I don't think they go into the States for a couple more seasons. Not seeing. Let's see. There's Cadot as a passable 3rd string goalie if we need one, but the PCHA is still those same 3 teams. So all the expansion is in the East this year with the new Toronto teams. And I need to sign the 3rd string goalie. Vezina had a decent season last year. So the goals against average looks ridiculous, but remember the era that we're in here. And let's see, does La Rochelle want to sign now? Because he had a little more potential. Yeah, now he's willing to sign. Okay, so we got 3 goalies signed, so we should be covered if anything happens there. Looking at the contract screen, we got 24 out of 25 contracts signed, so I'm going to leave that one open just so we have a little flexibility. But other than that, I think we're going to be mostly set to get us around to next year. Anybody on the depth chart? I'm going to just put Carey on the active roster because I think he's probably Leduc as well. And sort that out during training camp who goes up and down. What the hell, just put them all up. I'm going to put down as La Rochelle because he's just there as the 3rd stringer. And the Montreal Hochelaga, the new farm team, and yeah, also
Excuse me.
Logo. Oh, and we've changed the team logo yet again, and the lovely new, not exactly what you associate with the Canadiens jerseys, the barber pole, red, white, and blue. And
I kind of like them.
Yeah, big Canadian Athletic Club logo on the front. Oh, and I've got to assign numbers to all the call-ups. Good enough. And one guy named LeBlanc. But other than that, I mean, there's some decent prospects. I'm just going to see if I can get this right up to the preseason so we can see who the Toronto teams wind up signing. When does the schedule start? Actually, yeah, you can see we're getting a considerably early schedule this year, beginning in October, instead of the December starts we were having previously. Ed Dickory showed up out of shape. He's not that important, so let's criticize him in public and see if that shapes him up. Oh, and we are to the start of the regular season. So actually, let's just I'll do all the setup stuff for next time right now, so I don't have to go through that.
Do you want me to start doing the wrap up here?
Not quite yet. Let me just pick out the guys that are more or less going to be the starting lineup next year. Not quite the space for Corbeau anywhere yet. Although I'm tempted to take Holden's 31 going downhill, so I'm going to put Corbeau in. Seguin probably goes out for Tetreault. Actually, no, Seguin goes out for Carey, who's put a couple seasons in the minors at this point. What does he... I'm going to let the AI set the rolls, and what does it do for the lines there? Okay. Yeah, it's pretty reasonable. And I will set up the training quickly. Not really worried about trying to develop Ibert. I'm just hoping Lesseur hangs on as long as possible, despite being sturdy, so I'm going to continue focusing the training on him just to sort of stave off the inevitable decline. And we'll give Carey a bunch of coaching help. Maybe a little bit to Tetreault as well. And Corbeau too. I'm just checking the bonus number there and keeping them above 10. That should be good. Okay, so lines and lineup are done. Let's take a quick scan through the tactics. I'm just going to see if there's anything that no longer fits us at all. Everything offensively is looking okay. For the short-handed coverage, yeah, there's some switch to an aggressive pub box for the penalty killing. But you said I'm mainly focusing on getting the largest number of good fits possible. I'm going to go up the boards instead of through center, and just I'm watching who also is getting listed as being a good fit, because I want my better players, the Malones and the Lawans, to have tactics that are suited for them. And let's get one. Let me take a quick look at the Toronto teams. Oh yeah, they're going to be forced to. Yeah, they got nothing already, so they're going to sign a bunch of players when I start playing exhibition games. This should be a wipeout. What? 8-5 win for them? How'd that happen?
Doesn't sound like a wipeout to me.
That was embarrassing. I mean, the players are coded to take the preseason games a little easier, but still, I mean, throw Ibert the backup in against Quebec and see if we bounce back from that. 10-5 lost. What's going on here? Okay, well, we're going to have to figure that out next time, but that's not off to a great... Actually, no, let's just get through the... we only got 2 more preseason games, yeah. And then we'll finish the regular preseason schedule. Season ticket numbers are strong. 5-2 win for Montreal for the Wanderers. So now we're on the verge of going winless through the preseason, and now we've got Poulin, one of our better wingers, out for a couple of weeks. So we're going to try to throw in for him. Swap Bertrand for Holden. See if this makes any difference. And we've got the other Toronto team. Come on, we should win this. 13-2. There we go. Finally woke
Hooray.
up.
Maybe.
Hat tricks from 3 different guys. 3 different guys, or we got with them one, and Petra had 2 goals on top of that. But no. So we win it, but Joe Malone, our second best player, has a strained shoulder and is gone for 1 to 2 months. That's bad.
That's very bad.
Okay. Correct. Morale, well, I don't want to spend too much on it. Go a little cautious early in the season. But I'll just roll this around to the start of the regular season. Training camp, okay, yeah, Dublin Bouchard had good development. Wow, yeah, Carey really takes off and is up to 1 star already. Claygord improving, Corbeau improving, Sammy Bear's up to 1 star. Good. Malone got a little bit of improvement before he got hurt, and anybody important headed downhill? Strike, who we've got some use out of, but Dacre, just the lower line guys. Not a huge deal. Dacre is still out of shape. And Peter has a bad cut going into regular season. Let's just see the Toronto teams quickly. Yeah, blue shirts, nothing really there. I don't know how they beat us that badly. Mickey McKay, and that's basically it. Sort of a barely passable goalie and then a bunch of half-star guys. The other team, Toronto Tecumsehs, who wind up changing their name a couple of times, is in the future of, that's Broughton, the goalie we traded away to Ottawa. Only played a couple of games for them last year, so it looks like he or George Warwick is going to be starting. And Henri Dallaire, who, where'd they get him from? Was that the guy they just picked up on waivers? Yeah, they waived from the Wanderers. So they managed to salvage a decent guy off of the Wanderers roster to play with Jack Adams for the first year. But the Toronto teams are going to be bad this year, as they should be.
Sounds about right.
Okay, so that is what we got, and we will kick off next time in a couple of weeks with our slightly depleted. We got the injuries, and we got no other problems yet, but not sure how well this team can do. So we'll see what happens a couple of weeks from now. So do you want to wrap it up there, Adam?
Sure. So thank you very much for tuning in to another Franchise Hockey Manager stream. We typically stream every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Franchise Hockey Manager, as well as twitch.tv/OOTP Developments. All of our streams are archived on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/OOTP Developments as well, with stream archives going live Sundays at about 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You, of course, can reach out to us on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Franchise Hockey Manager. On Twitter, we're at Franchise Hockey. You can find a link to our official Discord and our Twitter bio as well. And, of course, you can come down to the official website, which is ootpdevelopments.com. Click on the community button in the top right-hand corner, which will bring you to our official forums where you can come talk about Franchise Hockey Manager, Out of Park Baseball, Perfect Team Go, or anything else you wish to discuss. And as mentioned before, Franchise Hockey Manager 10 is currently on sale through January 4th, 2024. So if you're watching this too late, you might miss it. But it's currently on sale for 33% off, which is $26.79, I believe, American. Or roughly...
Give or take a quarter, yep.
Yeah, roughly $35 Canadian and, whatever else it translates to, depending on whatever country you're in. But yeah, no better time to buy than right now. Jeff, did I miss anything?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything. We will be back next week with Adam's ongoing Pittsburgh Penguins game where he tries desperately not to get fired. How far are we? Did we get back to 500?
Oh, we've been bouncing up and down. I don't know. We're headed towards a trade deadline and probably going to be selling off.
Yeah, because I don't think you're headed for the playoffs this year. So let's see if you hang on to your job
Yeah.
despite that. Okay, thanks everybody for coming out, and we will see you back here next week.